Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Let's Vibe, the channel all about crystals and our feelings. So in this video, I want to talk about a very special type of opal. Now, I think I've talked about varieties of opal in other videos, but this is the first actual video on opal, and I wanted to introduce my most precious opal piece, and that is a very tiny piece of precious opal that I found on Etsy. Now, although this is really small, you can see right away it's got color, and I don't have the best light right now, but even in this dim light, you can see that this little piece it's got a range of colors. It's what you're not able to see. Well, let's see. Yeah, I think right there. I actually haven't seen that before. But there's quite a large blue streak in this piece, but it has to be looked at from a certain angle. But oh, there's some of the yellow or greenish, orangish streaks, yellowish orange streaks. This is a stunning little piece. It cost me $8. And it's smaller than a fingernail, but this is called rainbow opal or precious opal. And this is by far the most expensive form of opal. And you can see why. It's very, very beautiful. Now, this particular piece is what's called boulder opal, meaning that what that means is it formed in a very fine crack within a boulder. And in this case, it's ironstone. So sometimes opal will form, because opal is a hydrated type of stone. It's considered a mineraloid. It doesn't have a crystal structure, and it has a very high water content. And when it forms from like a thick silica gel deep in the earth, and that gel will seep into fine or thin cracks within the rock, and it'll form these very, very thin layers of opal. And that's what this is. It's a very thin layer of opal on top of, backed by some ironstone. So on the other side of this is, if I were to take this piece out and show you the back side, you would see the ironstone. Anyway, so opal, rainbow opal refracts light, throughout the whole spectrum of, the whole visible light spectrum. And it does so it has to do with the silica spheres inside the stone, and the spacing between these spheres is what determines the color that you see, the way that the light the way that the light is refracted, or the wavelength at which it's refracted. I probably using the wrong terminology, but it's the spacing between those silica spheres that creates the different colors. And like I said, this particular piece has quite a beautiful blue streak, but there you can kind of, no, not really. Oh, there kind of, you can see a little bit of it there. vivid blue. It's beautiful. It's like neon colors. This piece comes from Australia originally. Precious opal. Australia is like the world capital of precious opal. It's the #1 supplier of this gemstone. And I believe it comes from it's from southern Australia, I think southeast. A mine called Coober Pedy. And so I was thinking about opal, and this is a stone that has taken me some time to get used to and get familiar with. What's interesting is when you read about opal within the metaphysical realm, opal is described as being finicky sometimes, or moody, or temperamental, and so sometimes you'll come across some warnings when you're if you're using opal or carrying it. And one reason someone might issue a mild warning is because opal, with its high water content, opal really flows. The energy can flow very quickly, very smoothly, just like running water. So energy, and since there's no crystal structure, energy can move not only quickly, but can move in great quantities. Like a great amount of energy can move very quickly. The same thing happens with obsidian, because obsidian also is amorphous. It has no crystal structure. So opal, with its high water content and its very fluid energy, opal can easily amplify your feelings. It can amplify whatever vibrations you've got going on. And that's why it can be finicky or a challenge to work with. You have to make sure your vibration is clean and focused before working with opal. You want to make sure that your vibrations are high, basically, because opal it'll pick up whatever's within your aura, whatever's within your body. And that's the other reason why some may warn about it, because opal, with its, with all these colors and this brightness, it's a very illuminating stone. And so opal can be seen as a stone that kind of illuminates you from within. And that sounds really beautiful, and it is really beautiful. It is, a very healing thing to bring light into yourself and around yourself. But what that also does is it shines light on the things that may have been hiding in the dark. Old memories, old emotions that maybe you weren't fully aware of, or that you were trying to ignore. Opal can catch hold of those and amplify those things. And it does that in order for healing to be done. It's for the purpose of healing and transmuting or changing whatever that heavier thing is. So opal definitely infuses your aura. Rainbow opal, I should say. There's many different kinds of opal. Rainbow opal really infuses your energy, your aura, with all these rainbow colors and this light, this full spectrum of light. And it's, rainbow energy is very light-hearted and magical and kind of, I don't know, it's, I have the pleasure of seeing rainbows very often here in Hawaii, and the energy of a rainbow is uplifting. It puts a smile on my face. I never tire of seeing a rainbow. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and rainbow opal really captures that kind of energy and vibration, that magical energy of a rainbow. So it's uplifting. This is a very uplifting, heart-centered stone. The heart and the heart chakra is associated with water, and water is associated with emotions. And so opal is very much an emotional stone, and it's very much a heart chakra centered stone. So it fills your heart, it lifts up your heart and helps lighten it, and it lightens your aura and helps, the clearing out of the heavier stuff, the darker stuff. That's obviously not a pleasant thing. It's not fun, but it's so worth it. It's so worth allowing that kind of stuff to happen, allowing the heavier stuff to rise, allowing that to be cleared away, and to continue illuminating yourself. It really is worth it, because you do reach a point of like newfound freedom. Like it makes me think of the Sun card in tarot. The Sun card, it's just success and rebirth and joy and new beginnings. Like it's all that. And so it's worth doing that kind of self-work. I wanted to talk a little bit about, one of the reasons that I've been drawn to opal recently and have been thinking about rainbow opal is it's, as I've mentioned in prior videos, recent videos, I went through a Saturn transit where it was conjunct my natal sun. And Saturn is a very serious planet and carries some very serious energies. And it was a really challenging transit. And it only recently kind of came to a close. But I wrote down a few of the things that I learned and that I wanted to share, because the last video I made, I knew, or the last video in which I talked about this Saturn transit, I knew that it wasn't over completely. I knew there would still be some more to go, and there was. But I wrote down a few things that I wanted to add to what I shared before. And one of the things I thought about was how, as I'm a Aquarius sun, and Saturn is Capricorn, so that's earth energy. Aquarius sun, that's fire and air. And as I was thinking about that, I thought about how, those are the ingredients, the three things you need when a mirage is created, right? You've got the heat from the sun, the light from the sun beating down on the earth, and then the air with the heat waves is creating a mirage. So for me, this Saturn transit of being conjunct my natal sun, it was like facing a mirage of all of the things that really scared and unsettled me the most. And what's interesting is, as I did some research into this kind of transit, the research I did mentioned that this transit is like the closing out of things that happened or cycles that began 14 years prior. Because 14 years ago, prior to this transit, Saturn would have been or was opposite my sun. So it takes 14 years well, it takes 28 years for Saturn to go around the sun. So half that is 14, give or take a year or two. So 14 years ago, I was dealing with major mental health issues. I was dealing with feeling this pressure to just be normal and healthy. And one way that I was feeling pressured into being like that was I felt I was under a lot of pressure to go out and work and to just kind of live life the way the average person lives their life, except I was experiencing a pretty severe illness at the time. But, you know, as is common in America, mental health and mental illness are not understood very well, and it kind of freaks people out. People don't really know how to help or how to respond, and they come up with some really interesting things to fix, you know, mental health problems. It's pretty crazy what people think of when it comes to mental illness. But anyway, so in the last year during this transit, no kidding, those themes that I was really wrestling with 14 years ago, those themes came back. And it wasn't that the illness came back, no. I wasn't struggling with depression last year. I did have some anxiety, but there was no major illness. But the themes of the things that scared me had come back, and they were really right up in my face. And so that's why I kind of liken it to a mirage, because I knew in the very back of my mind, or I could say my higher self knew that this mirage wasn't real, that these fears were not quite real. But nevertheless, it was still a real challenge to be faced with these things again, these themes of, like, you know, are you gonna just do what people expect you to do, or am I going to do what people expect me to do, or am I going to do what I believe is right for me, what I know is right? That was at the core of the issues. That was at the core of these fears that had come up. Am I going to honor what my heart and soul are telling me? Am I going to listen to my inner voice and follow my path? Or am I going to buckle under the pressure of these old fears around love and acceptance from others, you know, wanting to be accepted and liked? You know, what's going to happen if I don't do what everyone else does, or what's going to happen if I live life differently from others? Like, it just, those fears around fitting in, around striking out on my own and you know, paving my own path, that was at the center of it all. So for me, that was those were major issues, major themes. The second thing I wanted to mention was looking back over the last year, I can see time and time again how spirit, source, the universe, whatever you want to call it, how it was there for me. I was taken care of even during the times when I was really overwhelmed with my own emotions. There were many days when I felt just very worried, not knowing what the future held, feeling kind of like a failure. And spirit was there. I was still being held and protected and watched over, even when I wasn't present, so to speak. Even when I wasn't anywhere near in alignment with my inner voice. So that's just something that I, kind of have to remind myself to think about and ponder, because another one of the themes over this transit was the theme of how much am I going to trust the universe? How much am I going to trust in God or in Source? Because I got to let go of all these old things. I got to let go of the things that I used to trust. And the universe really asks for your full, complete, undivided trust. And so that was a big lesson. And the third thing is I could, through many different experiences with friends and with family, and with myself, I began to see more clearly how afraid I really was of opening up and becoming more vulnerable, being more authentic with the people in my life. And in regards to, themes of work and money, which I talked about in the previous video, the video I made at the very end of December. I also gained a clearer understanding of how extremely narrow my ideas are around money, around work, how I should make money, how I should receive it, where it should come, all these ideas and beliefs that really are irrelevant. This transit definitely helped me see that more clearly. So I just wanted to share, some of the things that I learned and through that transit, because we all go through difficult transits, difficult periods in life where it feels like nothing is working out and nothing is going right. That's exactly where I was for like 9 months last year. And I just wanted to share, with the help of my illuminating precious opal, illuminating all those things within. I just wanted to share some of the positive things that were gained through that Saturn transit. And last but not least, I just wanted to give an update. A few months ago, I did a video about what I called mystery crystals, and this was one of them. And I call it a mystery crystal because I didn't really know what mineral this was other than quartz, but I didn't know what this druzy mineral was. So one evening, this happened maybe a month ago, one evening I was really in that flow. I was really in alignment. And I had this very gently passing thought, I wonder what this mineral really is. I wonder if I can find what this druzy mineral is. I go on my phone and no joke, within 10-15 seconds, I had found a stone like this. And I learned that this is brown druzy calcite over what I think is white and clear quartz. I think part of this is clear quartz. The bottom looks like white quartz. But, so this is brown calcite, but in druzy form, laid over quartz. And the energy of this stone, you know, anything druzy, it's going to have a very almost amplified kind of energy, because druzy means it's just hundreds or even maybe even thousands of little tiny crystals. And so each little crystal is radiating energy, and so it's a really like full coverage full coverage kind of energy. But you know, calcite is a very activating stone, a very energizing stone. It makes you want to take action. And so brown calcite is definitely very much motivating in terms of taking action. And it's very root chakra, earth energy stone. And it also aids with opening up your mind, allowing your mind to open up to new thoughts, new ideas, and to think differently. It increases your mental flexibility. So I just wanted to share that find. Druzy brown calcite over quartz. Very powerful. Now, a song before we go. I have 2 songs actually. So the first song is for my rainbow opal. Now, I think a perfect song for this would be Kylie Minogue, of course, Australia. And she has a great song on her disco album called Supernova. And it's all about just wanting to bask in the starlight of a lover or a beautiful person, to bask in a bright aura. Anyway, I thought that was perfect for this rainbow opal. And it's just very bright and uplifting, and that whole album by Kylie is just incredible. So Supernova by Kylie Minogue. And then for our druzy brown calcite over quartz, we're gonna do a lesser known Spice Girls song called Who Do You Think You Are? I almost forgot the title for a second. But this is also a disco themed kind of song, disco style song. Comes from their first album, which, I mean, that whole first album is kind of disco funk style. But Who Do You Think You Are is basically like, show me what you got, make a move, shake it, swing it, get out there and dance. I think it's a great song for this druzy brown calcite. So I will include 2 links down below in the description box, one for Supernova and the other for Who Do You Think You Are? And be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button. And once again, thank you so much for vibing with me.